He may have given a
She made her work very hard every day.
Scrub, scrub, scrub.
Cinderella had two stepsisters. Their names were Drizella and Anastasia. The stepsisters never had to work. They just pranced around the house in their fancy dresses and made fun of Cinderella.
Your dress sucks!
One day, as Cinderella was working, she heard a knock on the door. When she opened the door, a messenger from the king's palace stood before her.
Hear ye, hear ye! Be it known that the ladies of this household are cordially invited to attend the grand ball at the king's palace tomorrow night at 8 o'clock.
Then I can go too.
You!
But it says every girl in the kingdom must be there.
Of course you may go, Cinderella. You may go if you do your work first and if you have a dress to wear.
Oh, thank you.
Cinderella ran up to her room. Some mice lived in Cinderella's room. They were Cinderella's friends. She had even made little clothes for them.
Guess what? I'm going to a ball at the palace.
Hooray! Then she showed them an old dress.
It just needs a little mending, and maybe a sash and some beads to make it pretty.
Yes, yes, Cinderella! Cinderella!
Cinderella went downstairs.
I want you to clean the floor, wash the windows, and dust the drapes.
But I did that yesterday.
Do it again.
Cinderella worked as fast as she could, but there was always one more thing to do.
Oh dear, I'll never have time to mend my dress.
In the meantime, the mice discussed what to do about Cinderella's dress.
Damn it, Cinderella, work, work, work.
She will have no time to fix her dress.
We can do it.
We can fix Cinderella's dress.
Gus and Jack sneaked into a big room. The stepsisters were dressing for the ball.
I hate this old sash. I never want to see these beads again.
Jack grabbed the sash. Gus picked up the beads. They took them to Cinderella's room.
Look, we found these.
Now we can make Cinderella's dress really pretty.
They measured. They cut. They folded. They sewed. They worked and worked as fast as they could. The hours went by quickly. Cinderella had to help the stepsisters with their dresses until it was time for the ball.
It's time to go to the ball, girls. Are you ready, Cinderella?
No, I did not have any time to fix my dress.
Too bad. You must learn to work faster.
They watched Cinderella go up to her room. When Cinderella came into her room, she saw something wonderful. Her dress was ready.
Surprise! It is the prettiest dress I've ever seen. Ooh. Ah.
After she put it on, she ran down the stairs as the stepsisters were leaving.
Wait, I can go now. I have a dress.
The stepmother and the stepsisters could not believe their eyes.
My sash! My beads!
They ripped off the sash and pulled off the beads. Cinderella's dress was ruined.
But...
Come along, girls. The prince is waiting for you.
And off they went to the palace. Cinderella was left behind.
Cinderella ran into the garden. The mice ran after her.
How I did wish to go to the ball, but it's no use. Wishes never come true.
Never, my dear?
There was a little woman with a wand.
I am your fairy godmother. I am here to give you your wish. Now, let me see. I need a pumpkin and a dog. What luck, they are right here. And, yes, I will need some mice.
When the mice heard this, they began to run, but the fairy godmother stopped them with her wand.
Now for the magic words. Bippity, boppity, boo! Bippity, boppity, boo.
She waved her wand, the pumpkin turned into a coach. She waved her wand.
Bippity, boppity, boo.
Kablooey.
The dog turned into a coachman. She waved her wand, and the mice turned into white horses.
Bippity,
Zap.
boppity,
Flajooey.
boo.
Blam.
Now hop in, my dear.
But my dress.
Oh my, I almost forgot.
She waved her wand again.
Bippity, boppity, boo.
Boombastic.
Cinderella looked down. Her dress turned into a white gown. Her shoes turned into glass slippers.
Now hop into the coach. But remember, all the magic ends when the clock strikes 12.
I won't forget.
And off she went to the palace. At the ball, the king was complaining to the Grand Duke.
The prince has met all the girls in the kingdom, and he has not yet found one that he likes.
Give him time.
He has had enough time.
Just then, Cinderella came into the ballroom. When the prince saw her, he bowed.
May I have this dance?
Yes.
All night the prince danced only with Cinderella. They danced around the floor as if in a dream.
she be?
The hours went by quickly. Suddenly the clocks began to strike at midnight. Cinderella ran down the palace steps. As she ran, she lost a glass slipper. When the prince reached the steps, Cinderella was gone.
The girl who wore this slipper is the girl I want to marry. Find her.
Yes, master.
Even before Cinderella was home, the magic ended. The coach turned back into a pumpkin, the coachman turned back into a dog, and there were Cinderella and the mice just as before. The next day, the Grand Duke took the glass slipper to every house in the kingdom. At last, he came to the house where Cinderella lived. Cinderella was up in her room. First, Drizella tried the slipper.
This foot is much too long.
Then, Anastasia tried the slipper.
This foot is much too wide. Are there any other girls in the house? Just wait.
No.
Just then, Cinderella came downstairs.
Who is this?
She is only the maid.
I don't care. She too must try the slipper.
She tried on the slipper. It was a perfect fit. Then Cinderella reached in her pocket and pulled out the other glass slipper. The Grand Duke bowed to Cinderella.
You are the girl the prince says he must marry.
So Cinderella went to the palace and married the prince, and they lived happily ever after.